What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we are going to be discussing some big changes that are forthcoming to exotic weapons and armor in Destiny 2 that should drastically change the landscape of the game, including some new developments that I definitely wanted to talk about. So, exotics in Destiny 2. They're a little bit difficult to assess, quite frankly, but I think a lot of people have come to the consensus that exotics in Destiny 2 are, for the most part, underwhelming. What exotics would you use right now in your everyday loadouts, when you're doing strikes, when you're using them in public events? Do you even use exotics? Well, with Masterwork weapons becoming more relevant and the ability to produce orbs on multi-kills so good, a lot of people are using Masterwork legendaries over exotics now for most activities, and especially in PvP, where aside from the Mida multi-tool, you really see nothing but legendaries. This, I think, is a big difference from Destiny 1, where exotics were always part of the meta, well, for the most part. And I think one of the problems about Destiny 1 and comparing it to Destiny 1 is that Destiny 1 evolved quite a bit over its 3-year lifespan. Exotics at vanilla Destiny 1, when it first launched, were quite a different animal than 3 years later with the Age of Triumph. We had a lot more mid-range / lackluster exotics in the 3-year portion of the game, and it just felt like exotics were shifting towards more of a Destiny 2 model. But at the end of the day, there were more chase exotics in Destiny 1. The Outbreak Prime, of course, the Galahorn, something like the Black Spindle. We had really phenomenal, unbelievably powerful exotic weapons in Destiny 1, and we don't have that many in Destiny 2. We have some chase weapons, like the Merciless, I would say, and like the Dubious Volley, or I should say Wardcliff Coil, sorry about that. I'm talking about Destiny 1. But aside from a few, a lot are very lackluster, and especially the armor, you don't see a ton of armor pieces that you're using. There's a few good ones, but most just fall into obscurity. So, Bungie, thankfully, is addressing this, and there is going to be some upcoming exotic changes. Bungie has stated several times now that they're going to do an exotic pass and drastically increase the power of exotic weapons and armor in Destiny 2. This by itself is quite interesting, that every single exotic in the game, hopefully, is going to get a substantial increase in power. Now, the way that they're talking, the way that they present these arguments in their updates, it sounds like they're not just buffing it by a few damage. Well, hopefully that's not the case. It sounds like they could be completely reworking some of the perks, adding new perks, etc., because they really do seem to be focused on making exotics special. They should be verging on overpowered, because that's why you're only allowed to use one exotic. If exotics weren't supposed to be good, if they're supposed to be balanced, why are you only allowed to use one in your loadout? When right now, people are using none, right? So that argument, I should say, falls apart completely when you present people with that fact. So exotics should be good, that's why they're limited to one per slot. So the fact that Bungie does say they're increasing the power potential of exotics is very good, and I'm hopeful for that update. But a little bit of new information, there's been a lot of questions about secrets within Destiny 2, or frankly, lack thereof. In Destiny 1, there was a lot of hidden weapons, secret quests, really interesting stuff that got the community involved. We're talking about the Black Spindle quest, the Outbreak Prime quest, even the No Time to Explain, and the Sleeper Simulant. These quests were not inherently obvious, and the community had to work together to find out how to engage in these, how to do them, and the rewards were substantial. Our boy Adam on Twitter asked, will there ever be hidden quests like the Black Spindle or the Outbreak Prime again? Those type of quests are non-existent in D2, and they were brilliant. And he tags Christopher Barrett, who is the game director at Bungie. And Christopher Barrett responds with, yup, and pretty limited answer, but it does tell us quite a bit. So, for those of you who may not have played Destiny 1 and don't know about the Black Spindle quest, let's quickly go over it because it's very important to know when we're talking about this. The Black Spindle was an incredibly powerful exotic sniper rifle in Destiny 1. It was able to get 3 shots consecutively on an enemy and instantly refill its magazine from reserves. So you could fire all of your rounds consecutively into a single boss. Now, of course, when you're doing boss DPS, it was absolutely phenomenal. Very, very highly used and highly sought after weapon. Now, to get it was a crazy, crazy story. Bungie actually took this weapon out of the database. No one knew about it at all. And then, one day, there was daily missions. So every day would be a random mission that was just a daily mission that would be a little bit harder but offer a better reward. During one certain daily mission, you could just go a different direction than you were otherwise supposed to, and this would lead into this new area where a bunch of hard enemies would spawn, but if you killed all of these enemies in time, you would unlock the Black Spindle. Again, no one knew about this. It was not advertised in any way. There was no thing saying, go this way. Someone just randomly went off the pathway and found this hidden exotic weapon. The community exploded. Like, obviously everyone was like, is this real? Is this photoshopped? This is crazy. But yes, it was real. I remember that day, like, hopping on, grinding it out, and doing my own guide for how to do it. And it was a really fun and exciting experience in Destiny 1. These hidden quests that would give you phenomenal weapons. And every time this quest rolled around, it was a big deal. Like, people were logging on, there was streams carrying people through this content to get this weapon. It really energized the community. And again, there's nothing like that at all in Destiny 2. Now, for the Outbreak Prime, if you're not familiar with that quest, it would take me like 10 minutes to explain how to do it. It's a very complicated quest. Again, it's like a secret thing. People had to figure all this stuff out. I would recommend maybe watching like one of my guides on how to get it to let you know, but it was very complicated. You had to know binary code, and it was really, really a sweet quest that brought the community together. And again, there's nothing like that in Destiny 2. In fact, if we look at the new expansion with the Curse of Osiris, what exotics were added in there? Was there any exotics that were awarded through world quests? No. So not a single exotic quest was added. There wasn't even a raid exotic for the new raid layer. Like, how sad is that? And that's really not great. You want these pieces of content offering good incentives in order to replay them. But with Christopher Barrett saying, yup, it does say that these type of quests, and you know, Adam specifically says Black Spindle or Outbreak Prime. He's not just saying, hey, are there going to be more exotic quests? He's saying hidden quests like the Black Spindle, like the Outbreak Prime, are those returning. So hopefully we will see these literally like secret exotic quests with, and that's why I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the increase in power, better exotics at the end of them. If you have this crazy secret quest that requires a bunch of stuff to do, and the output is the Fighting Lion, no one's going to care about it. The reason the Black Spindle and the Outbreak Prime quests are cited so often in being fantastic pieces of content is because the reward at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel, was great. The Outbreak Prime and the Black Spindle were both fantastic, incredibly powerful and incredibly unique weapons, and without that power potential, without that great reward, no one's gonna put the effort into doing these quests, especially the Outbreak Prime quest. That quest is a pain in the butt. Let me tell you, it is a pain in the butt to do, but the reward is worth it, and that's why people do it. Right now, again, you don't have that reward substantial enough, so Bungie's gonna have to do this twofold. Reintroducing these hidden quests is a great thing, but also pairing them with a massive increase in exotic power potential is what you need to succeed. It rhymes, so it must be true. Now, the next question is, when are we going to see these hidden quests return to Destiny 2? Well, likely the most sensible location for them to be is arriving with the next expansion, DLC number 2, the Warmind expansion. And this is somewhat problematic because so many people right now are disenfranchised with the game. If they do add a lot of improvements and if they have these sweet quests, that will be a great thing. Like, I'm not saying it won't be, and I really want them to be in the next expansion, but so many people have left the game with the last expansion. So many people didn't even buy the expansions. It's going to be hard to have a paid expansion offering so many improvements, because then you're going to have to convince people, hey, remember that game that you stopped playing because you didn't like it? Well, it's better now, just trust me, oh yeah, and give me $20. And I wouldn't blame anyone for saying, heck no, I'm not spending another dime on a game I feel disenfranchised with. And that's the problem to these solutions. We've talked about these improvements coming to Destiny 2 with the more powerful exotics and with these hidden quests returning, both great things, but if people have got to pay for another expansion to get that stuff, I can't see it having as positive as an effect on the player base as it should. What you should be doing, Bungie, is introducing some exotic quests for free. I know it's a crazy term, and not introducing them through Eververse, but actually introducing meaningful content, a couple of these hidden secret quests for free, get the community excited, get people to log back on. It costs nothing if you already own the game to hop back on and try something. And if it's a really fun exotic quest with a great exotic at the end of the trail, you're gonna have a lot of people saying, you know what, this is pretty awesome. And then have even more of these hidden quests and powerful exotics with the expansion. And then people can then say, you know what, I like this free content so much, I am gonna pay and get that new expansion and get even more of these quests. That is the way to rejuvenate the fan base, not to lock all of the meaningful improvements behind paid DLC. Now, I say that mainly as a warning, but looking at the big development update we had about a week ago, it does seem like a lot of meaningful improvements are coming to the game free of charge. And something like increasing the power level of exotics, that is something that won't be locked behind a DLC, so that's all good. In any event, the landscape is changing. Hopefully these exotic changes can spice up the game. For me, I just want to see more arsenal available to use. When I'm thinking about what exotics to use, I really only have a handful that even want to consider. So many are useless, and even more are not bad, but they're just not worth using over Masterwork legendaries. Now, we do have Masterwork exotics coming to Destiny 2, but those were slotted for fall 2018 as a release. That's crazy, and that's a lot of time you're asking people to stick with the game for these improvements that should be introduced soon. In any event, guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.